What if it's a baby mama you don't like? Like, why would you compete hard for her?
But
What if you have
it's
8
people
babies
that's gonna
moms?
be playing for theirs though.
Okay. If you have
if
8
you don't
babies moms.
just imagine you don't have to pay no child support. If this money right here could take care of that, you're gonna get it out of the way for the whole year.
For the whole year. What about, I know Cam talked about the LeBron thing. LeBron ended up sort of backing out, like he said, 32 seconds before the game. Ant Edwards somehow mysteriously didn't play in the game. We don't know why. He's fine. He's going to play for the Timberwolves as soon as the All-Star break comes to an end. What did you think about that? Was that weird to you that LeBron was in street clothes getting announced as an All-Star? Should he have backed out earlier, or what did you think?
At this point, my take is that LeBron is bigger than the game. He's bigger than LeBron and Pauls. He's bigger than the program. And I don't care what nobody says. He pulls out all the stops. He go to teams that he want to go to. If he don't want to play that day, if he don't want you on the team, if you're the first draft pick, listen, it doesn't matter you're the first pick. We'll send you to Liberia if I like. Pause. That's just what it means to be, king, I guess, of the NBA. Well, but he definitely earned that status. But I would have liked to see him say, earlier that I'm not playing. So who would have played in this place? It's probably somebody that really wanted to suit up.
Probably like a LaMelo Ball. He wanted to play for sure.
And we would have wanted to see that.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I think about the All-Star game was we don't really even know what it's for anymore. Is it to give accolades to the best players in the NBA? Is it the most entertaining players? Because unethical basketball is what is awesome for All-Star games, right? The Cam Thomases, the Trae Youngs,
I think
the
that's
LaMelos.
what messed the All-Star game up when it became just about the votes, right? And somebody who's not that good, but they're from Liberia, got everybody from Liberia voting for them, put them in the All-Star game. It used to be, the best players, and that's when you get the best game. But I don't think the NBA today is producing the players that love the game. I think that's the real root of the problem. You're not playing against players that love the game. You're playing against highly skilled players, but they don't have that inner workings that make them want to be better than the next player. I hate to go back in the days, but there was a different pedigree of athlete that even if I didn't have the talent you had, I had the heart or the will to want to compete. I don't see the will to want to compete. Like, it's just if I make a certain amount of money, I'm good. And that's the attitude all over the place.
You think players in this era don't love the game?
No, not in America.
Yeah.
I think that so you gotta think about this, right? Is the salary that they're getting. Seriously, like the salary is crazy. And I always bring this, and I could use a million examples, but I always bring this Michael Jordan stat up that he made $111 million throughout his career, and the majority of that was on the last 3 years of his contract because he's doing one-off deals with the Bulls. You got to think during these dunk contests in the 80s and 90s, nigga, you think Spud Webb ain't need that 50,000?
Yeah.
They wanted that extra 25, 50, whatever it was. They needed that. They don't need the money that they're offering these players right now. Like they don't need it. So it's not incentivized to go get it. A lot of things are money incentivized, and these niggas are getting shitload of money to where they like, it doesn't make sense for me to do it. So Mase is right. It's not about the love. It's about, I got paid, and then what I'm going to do with $1.25, I'm going to make that before halftime, my next game. Then the next thing is, you see them playing gingerly. We was talking about this, me and Bees on the house earlier, to where the last 6-7 years, you see them playing like it's no defense. It's nothing. But then you don't want to risk injury either. You don't want to sit there and get hurt in the All-Star and then you don't be able to play the second half of the season. Then niggas will be like, oh, why is he playing? You can't win out here. You know what I'm saying? You can't win. They'll be like, oh, he shouldn't have been doing this. Or shouldn't have been doing that. They didn't care about that. When you go sit there and watch Kobe Bryant play an All-Star game, took no minutes off. Defense or offense, it didn't matter. But I think a lot of things at that era was money incentivized because everybody needed that little extra change to where they don't need it anymore. If you're sitting there talking about a dunk contest, right? And I know that a lot of things are based on creativity and everything else. And I'm not saying this is a lot of money for these players. But you sit there and say, look, we'll give $2 million to the dunk contest winner, and we want Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, and Zion. I don't care about the B League, the G League.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and you sit there and say, because I'm not saying $2 million is a lot. I mean, a little bit, but to them it probably is. These niggas is getting $100 million, $200 million sneaker deals. Forget the NBA deals. They get 9-digit sneaker deals. But at least it'll get some incentive, because like Mase was saying, you can sit there, even if it ain't the baby mother, you like, your mom, here, take the dunk contest money. Or your little brother, or your cousin, or whoever. Somebody else in your family could use it. You understand? So I think those are the names that you want to hear when you hear something like a dunk contest. And you got to raise that price. The price is not going to get them to do it.
You mentioned, Cam, just like players saying, oh, I don't really want to get injured for the All-Star game. And I think that's a super valid point, because you look at LeBron and you say, well, they're in the 5th seed right now. They're half a game out of the 4th seed, and they just acquired Luka, one of the most blockbuster, shocking trades we've ever seen, probably in the history of the game. This might be their only tiny window. So when you think about the context, and I guess I'll ask you first, Mase, if you think about the context of the Lakers as a whole, does it make more sense knowing where the Lakers are at and the trade they just made, and maybe the window that LeBron has left in his career, that he would sit out, even if, considering he's played in 21 All-Star games before?
Yeah. I think the All-Star game helps players. I think it rejuvenates players, because there's a certain energy that you take from these type of games into the second half of the season. Let's say there's somebody that wasn't playing well in the first half of the season. Let's say they turn up in the All-Star weekend. They come back to their team believing that they should compete like that for the rest of the season. And that ends up going into the All-Star, after the All-Star weekend, into the second half of the season, as well as the playoffs. We've seen that time and time again, where somebody catch fire in an All-Star weekend or do well on All-Star weekend, and the entire season is totally different after that All-Star weekend. You'll hear people say that, well, we'll see after the All-Star break, because people understand that from that point on, everybody switch gears. So let's say I'm sitting out and I'm waiting for the second half. I don't think resting is a great thing for players as they get older, because the more you start resting, the more you need that rest. That's just my vantage point. When you got young players and they're playing through all of these times, if you got to think about getting hurt, I got to wonder, were you really prepared for the season? So I just come from a different school of thought.
Yeah, we was talking about it because it wasn't necessarily the All-Star. We was talking about when Paul George got hurt in that preliminary Olympic thing, and you actually seen the players walk off the court and not go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they was like, they stopped the game, looked at Paul George, went over games condolences. KD just walked out off the court. A couple niggas stopped it. Then niggas was like, I'm cool on the Olympics, because it's great having a gold medal and winning for your country, but your bread and butter and your money and your bottom line is in the NBA. So Paul George was lucky enough to have an 85% insurance on his contract. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about that, because if you, let's use round numbers. Let's say you got $100 million contract. You get 85% of it, so you get $85 million. But luckily, and thank God, you know, as much as we fuck with Paul George, it's a blessing for him to even still be playing basketball after
his
that
legs
injury.
snapped.
Yeah, like his legs snapped. Sean Livingston, Gordon Hayward. When we see injuries like that, and I see people come back, I give them much props, man. As much as you not the GOAT, Paul George, for you to even be playing, you get a lot of props from me. Just cut the GOAT shit out, and you be Indiana legend, not Reggie Miller. but you one of them niggas.
Indiana George.
Yeah, Indiana George.
Gee, run with
yeah,
that.
Yeah. So I like that. And what I was going to say is this, is that I think a lot of players would not even show up to All-Star if it wasn't part of the contract. They're contractually binded in your contract. If you go to if you're nominated to go to the All-Star game and bearing injury, you have to go to the All-Star game. I think mad of them niggas would take the weekend off and not even go. My personal opinion, I think they'd be like, man, I'm cool. Tell niggas I got the flu. But you got to go. You got to prove that you're injured or sick or whatever. That's why you see the players who can't even play there most of the time, unless it's an injury to where they can't even travel. They're contractually binded to be there. To me, the way these niggas acting, these niggas wouldn't even come to the weekend, my point of view.
What you want, nigga? Everything, nigga, super size. 2 Big Macs, like when they doing them 2 for $5.